Hi there, I'm John Michael Garapi, and this is Popcorn Roulette. Today I have two very special guests. Not only were they selected for the Popcorn Roulette Film Festival, but they are also won the award for the Best in New England. I have with me Jenn Gomez, who is the director of Good Conversations, and Dave Sondrini, the producer of Good Conversations. Hey guys, say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, you guys seem like fun. We were excited about this.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get right into it. Where does the plot for Good Conversations come from?
Jen.
So, yes, that's me. I've been kind of playing around with the idea of, a meet cute that turns out a little cuter than, other situations where it could get weird. But I never really had the vehicle to put that in until this ride sharing thing became a boom, right?
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about, what happens in these cars, like when something weird, right? Like you drive up, you pick up someone and it's like a weird situation, and how do you handle that? And in this case, relatively charming young man, kind of midlife crisis, young woman get together, and instead of it getting weird and creepy, it got nice and cute and romantic. So
you play the main character inside your own movie. How much of the character is based on your own personality? How much did you work into the character itself?
There's definitely Dave knows, there's the awkwardness to this character that is inherently me. But, I did not decide to run away on my own wedding day. I went but I think there's kind of a, there's for those of us who have been in mature adult relationships, there's always been this kind of conversation in your head about, loyalty versus like what I want, is it we versus is it me? Like what comes first? And I think that's kind of the reason why I kept it open-ended, because it's kind of the universal relationship thing. When you're confronted with something shiny and new, do you decide to go for that shiny and new thing, or do you stick to the thing that's relatively comfortable that you've been dedicated to for years? And I think everybody answers that question differently in their own way. It's been really interesting hearing what people have said after they've viewed the film, what they've wanted to happen.
It's definitely a good conversation starter. Oh, sorry.
Pun intended.
I forgot the name of the title of the film.
No, yeah, you worked it in. I thought it was always fun because I thought it was a little too goofy. Not too goofy, but I was like, is it a little too much that she just leaves on her wedding day? It seemed a little ridiculous. And then mostly women that I talked to were like, "Oh no, that's real. Like that's a real panic that you get." Oh, okay, I wouldn't have known that,
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I wanted to ask you guys, because a lot of this film, you do an excellent job making it feel very natural, and the fact that there's it seems like the two characters were just put in a situation, a camera was set up, and you just recorded, and you got the lines done, then you moved on to the next scene. Now, I get the impression that's probably not the case, that it actually took a little bit longer to put everything together than that. What was the process of building this movie like?
It was what you were saying, and it wasn't. So we did a lot of prep because like I have made a lot of my own movies, and Jen really wanted to do this, and it was started from reading the script a bunch of times and storyboarding, which that's when we started to get in each other's heads a little bit, as to like what exactly it was going to look like. So yes, we did just plop a camera down and film Aaron, the lead, and Jen, but it was pretty careful. Like we location scouted everything, but still had 5 people on the set. You know what I mean? Very minimal lighting. If it was outdoors, maybe a reflector, and that was it. It was really funny because Jen, the weekend we were going to shoot, which was on a Columbus Day weekend, I think, it was totally overcast the entire weekend. And Jen was like, "Oh, it looks horrible." And I go, no. This is you guys are gonna pop out of the frame. So yeah, it was fun to have a small crew, because I usually go a little too big, and Jen was really smart to have 3 actual speaking roles in the movie.
Yeah.
And to make it feel sort of small and intimate, but it's got a little more ambition than small and intimate, I think. So
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, I think part of it was I really wanted to make this movie, and I didn't want to have to figure out 15 people's schedules. How do I pay them? How do I feed them?
5 enough people is hard enough.
Yeah.
5 people is hard enough. Yeah.
There's a lot of Wendy's. There was a lot of pizza. But part of why we also made this movie when we made it and where we made it is because I love the Berkshires in the fall. So part of this was just I wanted to capture all the colors that were popping in the Berkshires. That's in our backyard. It's right here. So that was definitely part of the reason why it looks so effortless, is because that's just the weather.
It is beautiful. It lets me lead into another question. I was wondering about the drone shot and how difficult it was to set that up, because those are some beautiful drone shots. How'd that come about?
Adam, our friend Adam.
Yeah,
he's a great drone stuff is so fun, but you can go on like drone overload. They're kind of replacing helicopter shots for people like us, amateur and small budget people, where you can get these incredible things. Anyway, Adam, our friend, has this great 4K drone. I don't want to fly a drone. I think I would break it. So we called in Adam, who does a lot of he shot a few of our things, but he does a lot of mountain biking and stuff like that. So if we drive a car, he goes, oh yeah. So we basically planning out a route, and this was technically the 4th day of shooting, Jen. I think we did this in 4 or 5 days total. And one of those days specifically, we had just Jen, Adam, and I driving through a state forest,
back and forth
to one point and back. And Adam, it's so cool because you can get almost like a tracking shot where you're behind the car, and then immediately you can fly up and get another look that's basically a helicopter shot. They're really versatile. It's really cool for that kind of thing.
Yeah, we got it done in a couple hours. You know what I mean? It's, again, planning, easy, just drone, bring it, charge the darn thing.
Foliage.
Well, that was another question I wanted to bring up, because you were talking about how you could get drone overload and there's just too much footage of drone. So much of this film is pacing, and how much time do we spend? Because a lot of it is very introspective. A lot of it is very, let's take a very slow walk through the woods sort of thing. And I'm just wondering how you guys figure out when you spent too long, or when you got the exact perfect amount of time you spent kind of taking your time in a film.
Yeah. So first, can I mention that this script was there was definitely a lot more in this script than you see on the screen. And Dave did a great job cutting things out that did not need to be there, right? There were certain scenes in there that felt funny when we were reading it, but then the execution fell flat and we were like, maybe not. Dave, also, if you want to talk about your Jane Austen aesthetic.
Yes, I do. We Jen and I like those kind of movies. Period dramas, Remains of the Day and Pride and Prejudice and that stuff, where there's this kind of fun longing. Jen's thing was definitely meet cute kind of thing, right? But I was reading it and I'm a little more somber, so I was kind of I don't know, it's kind of a bummer. I'm seeing this more Remains of the Day, if you've seen that, or Pride and Prejudice has a happy ending. But that was my lens, and Jen was like, yeah, you're kind of right. And I think we threw out those movies, and then we watched In the Mood for Love for pacing. Jen had this cool one, Ohio, is that what it's called, Jen?
I think it's just called Columbus. It's a very, oh my God, I love that film. It stars John Cho, and it's a super indie, and it's just beautiful shots and a little bit of dialogue, and then more architecturally beautiful shots, and then more dialogue. It was just great in pacing. And we took that kind of aesthetic and just said, we know what they're talking about as they're walking through these woods, right? You can assume the who are you, what are you, what do you do, kind of conversations happen. I didn't want to script that out. I'm also horrible at dialogue. So I was like, let's just put in really beautiful shots of you know, them kind of falling for each other in the midst of like the beautiful scenery that we're all falling for as well. So
yeah, which was dictated by we like these movies, and I was like, I think this is the pay, because if you have a genre in mind, you can then the editing and all that other stuff kind of like fits into it a little bit more. So this in my brain, and well, we kind of mixed brains, and it was like, all right, now this is kind of in this weird period place, so let's pace it as such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was definitely a point where we were like, okay, we need to stop thinking about it. Like, this needs to go.
Yeah, yeah, you just have to make it work and cut things.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys have any other projects coming up that you're working on? What's your next big thing that you're planning on after getting done talking about the press stuff with this movie and pushing it on as many film festivals as possible?
Yeah, this one's been fun. Jen keeps sending it out, and I kind of had a feeling, I was like, this seems like a fun one that could fit into a lot of festivals. So we're riding this one.
Yep, I'm riding this one. So before we talk about Dave's project, I actually do, well, Dave wrote it, but we do have the groom's perspective. We've been talking back and forth about, you know, shooting that and seeing what that looks like. During these days, I don't know yet what's possible, but, you know, that's definitely kind of something that we've been percolating in the back of our minds. But Dave has something coming out.
Yeah, we did. Well, we had such a fun time doing that on Columbus Day. And just like Jen was saying, it's really easy to just point a camera at the trees. Well, you know, make a story first, but shoot something during Columbus Day because it's so rich and it looks phenomenal around here. So we did, we're actually kind of premiering it softly next week with our group of friends and stuff, because obviously COVID and everything like that. But it's about a group of people who go to an Airbnb, and the hosts won't leave the Airbnb for certain circumstances, so they have to spend a weekend there. But sort of similar tone.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been great talking to you guys. Hopefully, speaking of COVID, we'll be having our film festival at the end of September. We're scheduled for the last Saturday of September, but we don't have any idea. Right now, it's still July that we're working on, and we're still looking forward to it. But if not, then we'll be pushing off into October, November, or 2021, and we'll be having the film festival. We'll be having our 2020 film festival in 2021 if we have to do it that way.
Awesome.
But if anybody wants to find out more information, they can go to popcornroulette.org, and there'll be a page up specifically for the film festival. Thank you guys for coming down. It's been great having you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys seem like total movie geeks, and we
love it.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's us. That's us.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hey, you guys take care. All right?
All right.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah.